Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Collegiate iRacing League Flexware College Cup Series as we come to you tonight, bringing you a very, very special Flexware College Cup Series race. It's our Canadian Grand Prix up here. We have come north of the border for the first time tonight for our Press Subscribe GP presented by @CureAlmy on YouTube. Welcome to the Ignition Zone pre-race show, where we're going to talk about last week's action to get you hyped up for this week. As I'm your host tonight, as usual, Zach Lindler, alongside Alex Gagnon in the booth. And it looks like both of us black screens there, but we are here.
We forgot to pay the light bill here in the studio, but yeah, we are here in Montreal this evening, and what should be an absolutely thrilling race here. The second road course. Oh, hey, we found Zach. Hey, and there's me. There we go.
We paid producer Christian paid the bill, so we're all good.
There we go. Man, Duquesne Light's really on top of it these days. But we are here in Montreal, second road course of the year after running the Roval a couple weeks ago. And we're coming off of a absolutely thrilling race at Daytona last week, Zach. I mean, there's a lot of guys who I think could have a really good run here tonight. And I think we look no further than the Ball State guys, winners of the past two Flexware Cup Series races.
Yeah, they have been absolutely phenomenal across all three of our series recently. Of course, Daniel Nanny and R. Muhammad Alif controlling the last couple laps in last week's Freedom 250 at Daytona. Nanny taking home the Daytona 250 championship, sitting on top of his throne at the top of the College Cup Series. A couple weeks ago, the first road course race of the season, R. Muhammad Alif won that race, albeit not without controversy. He and Matthew Morton had a phenomenal fight all race long, but some contact in the last few laps of the race meant that Morton got a drive-through penalty, and Alif was able to drive away with that win. But yeah, the momentum right now, if you look at it organization-wise, it is definitely on the side of Ball State, and I think everybody's expecting them to do some really, really good things in the last stages of the regular season here.
Absolutely. I mean, we are starting to get down to it. Not too many races left here in the regular season. After Montreal, there'd only be 3 more left, 4 more total, counting Montreal here in the regular season before we hit the playoffs in late March. So lot on the line here tonight, especially because this is the last road course of the regular season. So if road racing is in your skill set, if it's in your acumen, this is the time to go out and get that win, because after this, it's only Vegas, Phoenix, and Bristol. The tracks just keep getting smaller and smaller on our way to the playoffs. That'll kick off March 25th with Darlington, but 4 more races to go. Before then, 4 more opportunities to lock yourself into the Flexware Cup Series playoffs.
Yeah, and right now we have 6 spots available. We only have 4 winners across 6 races this season. Matthew Morton from Ohio State currently on top of the charts with Daniel Nanny, the only other repeat winner this season, and then R. Muhammad Alif and Jake Cummings each with 1 win apiece. I'm wondering if we're maybe going to see another winner tonight, if Matthew Morton, R. Muhammad Alif are going to extend, or are going to put another tick in the win column for both of those drivers, or if we're going to see the likes of Clint Halterman pull something out, because he has been a phenomenal road course race the past couple years. I really hope he can get the job done, because it would be phenomenal to have another winner in the series this season.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly has the skill set to do it. The past couple road courses we've had, he's been on the podium both times. Just needs to find that little bit extra speed. The Roval was really a case of, if your last name wasn't Morton or Alif, forget about it. I mean, Alterman finished 3rd, but he was nearly a minute behind those two. They were just far and away ahead. But Montreal poses a really interesting challenge. The setup, to my understanding, had to be created for this race. It wasn't something that was already existing in iRacing. So this will be an opportunity. It really levels the playing field, because these guys have only had, a week at most to really been taking some time to work on this setup, work on this track. So it's going to really come down to who's got the skill and who's able to pick this setup up the fastest. Because this is a challenge that we have not seen to this point in this series, and we probably won't see the rest of the year with all the tracks remaining having a iRacing fixed setup.
Yeah, this is a really unique challenge for all these drivers involved tonight. Like you said, there's not a setup for Montreal. The Cup Series doesn't come here in real life, and neither does iRacing. So we're not going to have a fixed setup. These drivers are really having to navigate just a generic baseline Cup Series road course setup, which, based off of what I've heard from testing and practice this week, is really, really stiff and does not play well with the curbs at all.
And that in particular, I think, is going to be a really tough challenge in the early going. When all those cars are still bunched up together on the opening start of this race, this is not a wide track. Montreal is pretty narrow, especially through the early part of that course. Turns 1 through 4 are all pretty much 90 degrees, 2 lanes at best. And you're going to have a lot of cars, I think, bouncing off each other in those first couple laps, first couple corners especially. And it's not going to be until we get a few laps in where people can start spreading out a little bit, I think, where we start to see the rhythm come into effect and those drivers who have that skill on the road course to really shine. So if you're a driver who maybe doesn't have that, trying to get that track position early on will be even more critical, but that will cause, I think, even more chaos up front. So this could be a recipe for a lot of fun, or it could be a recipe for disaster tonight. Who's to say, honestly? I'm really excited for it, though, because either way, it's going to be a show.
Well, I'll tell you somebody who's really excited, and that's who's going to be joining us for our interview tonight. Zach DeWale from St. Clair College, finally getting a home race for our Canadian friends up north of the border in the Cup Series. Thanks for joining us here in the booth. I know you've been excited about this race ever since it was announced. Take us through what kind of prep work you've done to get ready for your home race.
Well, I wish I could say I'd done more, but I've been without pedals for the last week or so. During Daytona, my brake pedal died. It's been really weird input-wise getting replaced. So I've been waiting for replacement pedals to come in, and I got them now. So my first laps were today, a couple hours ago. Unfortunately, I wish I could have done more laps. I'm enjoying the track. It's a lot of fun.
Well, the good news is at least that you're going to be out there and competing tonight. How are the brakes so far since you've broken them in here? Everything feeling good to go here? Hopefully don't have any sort of Arca brakes situations going into turn 1.
It's feeling good so far. We'll see how they feel turn 1. I haven't had the best luck on lap 1 of these road course races, so we'll see how it goes today. But it doesn't feel too bad right now, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, thinking back to the Roval race a couple weeks ago, where you had an incident on the very first lap of the race, but you were able to drive that car through a phenomenal recovery drive and finish with a really solid points haul for both you and St. Clair. What did you learn last time out that you think you can apply tonight?
Well, for the Charlotte race, I stalled my load cell pedal, which helped a lot with just like the confidence under the brake, because it's what I was used to after using it for a few months, and I'm without that now. It's sitting on the table right there. So a lot of that just came from just confidence and being comfortable and having a nice rhythm. It kind of helped me learn kind of how guys are gonna defend, who's gonna really attempt to defend the position and try and keep you behind, who's gonna just let you go if they think you're faster. But it's so hard to say. Hopefully we don't have to be in that situation again today, though.
Well, speaking of situations, I'm taking a quick look here at the points. We're seeing on the nice graphic there that producer Christian put up, currently sitting P11, just outside of the 10 that they would take, but only a few points behind quite a few drivers. I mean, it gets really bottled up from about 4th on back, and you're within striking distance of all those guys. Is tonight a night to go out there and try and lock yourself in with the win, or are you just trying to race to get some consistent points to keep putting yourself in position for something to happen?
I think all I can hope for today, at least, is points. Alif is insanely quick. Like, he's got a second on everyone right now in practice. So unless something happens to him and I get real lucky, I don't think we're getting the win today. But I think Vegas is next week. I feel pretty good about Vegas. Any of the ovals, I think realistically I can have a decent shot as long as I kind of stay out of my own way. It's kind of been my problem this season.
Well, you've certainly had an extremely competitive season, and we're looking forward to seeing you out on track tonight. Thanks for joining us up here in the booth. We're going to let you go, get back to your practicing with your new pedal. But thanks for joining us. Best of luck out there, and hopefully we're going to talk to you in just a couple of hours when you're back here on the post-race show.
Yes, sir. That's the goal. Thank you.
And that's Zach DeWale, who looking to roll off pretty good here tonight. Obviously, qualifying gets underway in about 10 minutes or so, which means they'll have an opportunity to see where he'll slot into the field. But I like his odds, maybe not for the win tonight, but for a top 5. I think that would be a pretty solid bet if I were a betting man, of which I am usually not. Because when it comes to the CIL, it's tough to have any givens. You know, all it takes is just one errant twitch of the wheel, and you know, there goes your pre-race favorite. So,
well, and this is going to be a course and a race that demands perfection from our drivers, especially with how touchy these cars are. Extremely high horsepower, extremely low downforce, tons of mechanical grip, not a lot of aero. One small mistake, one little misinput, you know, you're an inch off on a braking point, that can end your race and end your night very quickly, and maybe someone else's night. But this is a really tough road course. Back at the end of last season, the drivers asked for some more diversity in the courses. They asked for a second road course. So this is a first in the Flexware College Cup Series for many reasons. It's the first time we've gone international. It's the first time we've had 2 road courses in a season. So for a lot of our road course ringers, like Alif and Halterman and some of the other guys in the field who are really solid at road courses, this is a second shot at them to try and snatch that win to lock themselves into the playoffs in, like you said, 4 weeks time from now, including tonight.
yeah, it's a huge opportunity for these guys coming in tonight. It's also a really, dare I say, precarious situation for some of those guys who may not have that road course experience. Having another road course on the schedule is just another race on the calendar that they might struggle with, fall into a bit of a points deficit, and then they're going to have to try and work it back at a Bristol, at a Phoenix, at Vegas next week. You know, tracks where it's doable, but you know, when we get to Bristol, if you're not in there, it's going to be tough to get there in that race just because of how crowded that track's going to be. Track position will be a premium. So you want to take advantage of every opportunity in front of you. And if you know that tonight's not going to be your night, it's all about damage control from the drop of the green flag.
Well, and as long as you can keep the car pointed in the right direction, and if you can't do that, keeping the car out of the wall, because the walls are very treacherous at this track, as long as you finish the race, I think you're going to be in for a really good finish and some good points. Yeah, this track almost feels like a Mario Kart track. There's walls you can hit everywhere. There's patches of grass you can run into. There's bumps and curbs and all sorts of hazards, quote unquote, all over the track. It's a favorite among our Formula C and prototype drivers for a reason, though. It's a very fun hybrid designated and street course. Lots of good passing opportunities all around the track, long straightaways as well. So we might even see the draft come into play, especially on the backstretch and down the casino straight on that final run to the start-finish line.
Yeah, but unlike in Mario Kart, unfortunately, whoever's in last will not get that bullet bill to try and propel them back to the front. If you're back there, chances are you're going to be stuck back there. It's going to be a long night. But to your point about that long stretch on the backstretch there, I mean, that leads directly into one of the most shallow hairpins I think we've ever seen these cars have to try and run. Getting the brakes down there is going to be really tough. I'm expecting we see a lot of lockups there in that hairpin, and I think we might see a couple of cars, if they're side by side, doing a little bumping and banging, trying to get around that right-hander.
Yep, I've got 4 really hot, crucial points circled on my track map. The combination of turns 1 and 2. Obviously, the first braking point on track, you're going to see a lot of drivers vying for position there at the drop of the green flag, and maybe in the first couple of laps, that's going to be a really big action point. The chicane, that left-hand corner, turn 6 and 7 that dumps you out onto the backstretch. It's very smooth, very flowing. That also presents itself as a good passing opportunity for some of our drivers. That takes you out onto the backstretch through the chicane in turns 8 and 9, and then into that hairpin corner that you were talking about, turn 10. It's over 180 degrees long, I guess is how you would say it. But it's a very, very tight, very, yeah, it's, yeah, words. But it's going to be the heaviest braking point on track. It's the tightest turn on track as well. I've got that circled the biggest on my track map right here, because I think we're going to see a lot of action there tonight. And then that dumps you back out onto the front stretch through the casino straight into turns 13 and 14, where that ever famous wall of champions in F1 is going to confront some of our drivers tonight.
That it will, and it's just about time we get to it. But I do believe before we get there, we're going to take a brief couple-minute break while they wrap up practice and get ready to go for qualifying. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for the start of this thrilling race from Montreal, the one and only Press Subscribe Grand Prix, presented by youtubes.com at Cure Almy. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the drop of the green flag in just after 10 minutes.
Bonjour, everyone, and welcome back to the Collegiate iRacing League, where tonight, for the first time ever, we're heading north of the border as the Flexware College Cup Series goes international. Welcome to the Press Subscribe Grand Prix presented by youtube.com/@CureAlmy, live from the virtual Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. As the end of the regular season and the playoffs creep ever closer, it's crunch time for many of our drivers as they try to win a bid into the Flexware College Cup Series playoffs in just 4 weeks' time. With 6 spots on points still available, every position is going to matter today. And these drivers will have everything to fight for in this very unique first race. It's going to be a tough race today, however. 35 laps around this 2.7-mile circuit, home of the Formula 1 and Formula C Canadian Grand Prix, with 14 turns, 6 to the left, 8 to the right, and only a few feet of elevation change around this track, which outlines the Ile Notre Dame in downtown Montreal. 3 major passing opportunities on this circuit as well. The first in turn 1, Le Virage Senna, a 90-degree left-hander into a 180-degree right-hander. Then further on down the track, past the winding back stretches through the chicane and into turn 10, the hairpin, the slowest corner on track, and back up the front stretch through the casino straight into turns 13 and 14, where the infamous Wall of Champions awaits our College Cup Series drivers for the first time. These drivers will have to be especially careful of all the bumps, curbs, and walls along the track as they fight for a spot in the playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, bonjour again, as I'm your host this evening, Zach Lindler, alongside Alex Gagnon, and we're going to take you flag to flag as we inch closer to the green flag of this electric, exciting race.
Yeah, it should be an absolute blast. CIL and road courses have honestly had a pretty good rapport over the past few years. We've had some really, really good races, a couple of really classic finishes as well over the past few road courses that we've done. This is the first year we've got 2 on the schedule. This is 2 of 2. The Roval 2 weeks ago provided a very entertaining battle between Ball State's R. Muhammad Alif and Ohio State's Matt Morton. What could today have in store? Not entirely sure, but we will find out in just a couple of minutes here as qualifying starting to wind down, and they're just about to get ready to take the grid here, Zach.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at tonight's venue for those of you who may not be familiar. Very, very north up here and very cold tonight in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Welcome to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. You can see it outlines this beautiful island of Notre Dame just outside of downtown Montreal. But it's a very, very unique circuit as it presents a unique challenge to all of our drivers. It's like a hybrid designated and street circuit. You have some sectors that are pretty much completely walled in by the walls around the track. But then you also have some more open areas like on the backstretch and into that hairpin turn. But you can see 2.71 miles, 14 turns around this track, opened in October 1978. Pit road speed is 50 miles an hour. We are going to see at least 1 fuel stop over the course of this race, just like we saw in the Charlotte Roval race just a couple weeks ago. And the first time that we have come here in the Flexware College Cup Series, and it's going to be a phenomenal race.
It really is. There's a lot of opportunities here. Seen on track, it is the big 3 as far as NASCAR is concerned: the Toyota Camry, Chevy Camaro, and Ford Mustang. These cars, with their 2-inch wider tires than their Gen 6 predecessors, a lot more grip trying to get through these corners, especially those low-speed ones like that hairpin you see back behind the graphic there as you see these drivers trying to navigate it here in the little warm-up laps. However, there is no amount of grip you can have to easily make a 3,400-pound car rotate around that section. So it is going to take a good balance of both throttle control and overall racecraft here to get it done here tonight.
Yeah, this track is really going to play into the favor of some of our road course ringers. R. Muhammad Alif, Clint Halterman, Edwin Onofre, Zach DeWale, who we talked about at the top of the show in the Ignition Zone pre-race show. All very, very good historically on these road courses. But R. Muhammad Alif, a second clear of the rest of the field in practice. I think it's going to take a lot for anybody to catch that number 12 car tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the man's good on road courses. What can you say? He has been dominant in Formula C. He has been dominant on the road courses here. Nearly won Watkins Glen last year, just missed out on it on a strategy call. Won the Roval race 2 weeks ago and has a prime opportunity to pick up a second victory here tonight at Montreal. Is that safe to say that is your pick here this evening, Zach?
You know, I think I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to pick Muhammad Alif to win tonight's race, barring any sort of chaos on lap 1. I think Alif and Ball State take that car to victory lane, and Ball State gets their third win in a, or excuse me, no, that'd be their fourth win in a row as a school in the College Cup Series.
Yeah, him and Daniel Nanny have been putting on a show the past couple weeks for the Cardinals there. I'm going to go a little outside the box with this one. This is a guy who hasn't won a Flexware Cup Series race in a minute, but he has won before, and he has done really well on the road side in Formula C. I'm going to go with the 166 from the University of Virginia. I'm going to go Thomas Toomey with a surprise pick here tonight. We know he's bad fast on some of these road courses, and with the lack of time that these drivers have had with the setup, I think that veteran experience being an alumni might give him the edge here tonight to get it done.
I think that's a really strong pick. Toomey's had a really, really good season thus far. Hasn't driven in every single race, but when he has entered the races, he's done really well. He's got such a knowledge of the sim, such a knowledge of the car. That I think that is a really strong pick, albeit out of nowhere. That one definitely surprised me.
Yours did not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm gonna think who's my dark horse tonight. I'm gonna go with Ryan Whitlock from Alabama, Huntsville.
Good pick.
Had a really strong finish at the Daytona Road Course at the Clash to start off the season. Finished 5th at the Roval just a couple weeks ago. He knows these cars like the back of his hand. He's a phenomenal race car driver. I think Whitlock has the consistency. Maybe not to win, but if he plays his cards right, I think he will definitely stand on the podium tonight.
He certainly could, and I'll toss a dark horse pick in there as well. Just someone who I know has run pretty well on these road courses previously. Not overly a dark horse, but Clint Halterman, I think, could surprise a lot of folks here tonight as well. But that's who I will chalk up as. But all of these guys might be able to put on a show here tonight beyond just these picks. But these are the official picks that we're going to put here in the booth here tonight on who we're thinking could come away with the W.
As I believe qualifying has come to an end, we are ready to look at tonight's starting grid for our Press Subscribe Grand Prix presented by youtube.com/@CureAllMe. Take it away, Alex.
You betcha. It's your pick, Muhammad Alif, on pole here tonight for Ball State, and my dark horse pick of Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte making up row 1. Row 2, it's Lucas Moody, the Ball State teammates lining up nose to tail there, alongside Jake Cummings from Wingate. In row 3, we've got Zach DeWale, who we talked to in the pre-race show, and Thomas Toomey from the University of Virginia there in row 3. In row 4, we've got North Texas's Edwin Onofre and Andrew Burrell from Clemson. And in row 5, we've got Jason Wallet from Drexel and Andrew Stagey from Ball State.
Looking at the next 10 drivers in the field, row 6, Matt Nordberg is going to start to the inside of Ryan Whitlock, my dark horse pick for NC State and Alabama Huntsville, respectively. Row 7, a couple of Clemson cars, Hunter Haddesty from Clemson, as well as Drew Williams in that 123, who's looking for a strong finish after the past couple of weeks. Row number 8, Ricky Paz, Valpo University, and Kelton Quick from Ball State to his outside. Row 9 inside, Alex Finnerty from UNC Charlotte with Ben Neller, another Ball State car starting just outside of him. And rounding out our top 20, it's Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology and Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate University.
And it already looks like we're rolling already. We fell a little bit behind there on the grid as someone was already off on the grass, but here we go. Racing from Montreal. It is Muhammad Alif on the outside, but he's going to lose out right now to Clint Halterman, who takes that lead away, and he'll go surging through turns 1 and 2 3 and 4 with the lead.
Yeah, that might have been a really, really important move right there for Halterman to go ahead and take that lead away from Alif, because now he's making Alif do all the hard work of trying to go around him. And that is something that Halterman is going to love, that played into his favor, because if Alif was out front, he had the opportunity to pull away with the lead of this race. And now here's Alif looking to the inside, possibly down the backstretch for the first time. Doesn't think about making that move, as look at those cars, 2 wheels over those curbs through the second chicane. And now here we come for the first time towards turn 10, down the Lapingle straight into the hairpin. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Will Alif try something? He looks to the inside. He's there. He has the car length aside, and he is going to take the lead away back from Halterman and return to his pole position out in front, as a lot of lockups among the field behind them going into the hairpin for the first time.
Yeah, I saw a lot of smoke there going into turn 10, but that was a huge pass going into the hairpin from Alif. He'll take the lead away from Halterman, and Halterman, I think, to have his best chance to win this race, was going to need to be able to stay ahead of the 12 somehow. Was able to do so for about half a lap after taking away the lead, but now Alif beginning to pull distance on the field. Halterman, Cummings, Toomey, and Lucas Moody right now your top 5 after the first lap. And as they make their way through 1 and 2 again, there could be a battle for second here as Jake Cummings right on the back bumper of Clint Halterman.
Jake Cummings, there's another really strong driver. He won the opening race at Auto Club this season, but hasn't been to victory lane since. He's really, really hungry for that second win. And if he stays with the pace that he has right now, he could be on track for another podium, which could better his case into the playoffs. But these first about 5 or 6 cars, Alif all the way to DeWale, pretty much nose to tail at the moment, though Alif is starting to build a bit of a lead as they go down the backstretch for the second time.
And as they make their way on down, the big gainers from those opening couple laps appear to be Ryan Whitlock in the 81 and Thomas Toomey in the 166. They're both up multiple positions from where they qualified. Taking a look here at Ryan Whitlock, who has moved up into the 7th position, but he's got a little bit of a freight train developing behind him here. A big gap between Whitlock up to DeWale in 6th, but looking out that mirror, Whitlock seeing a whole lot of Andrew Burrell, Jason Wallet, and Andrew Stagey directly behind him.
Andrew Burrell, there's another driver that's been on a really big uptick this season. Hasn't had a ton of success in the past, but it seems like we're saying his name inside the top 10, top 15 more and more each week. So him and his Clemson and OWR teammates, Ryan Whitlock, one of his teammates just ahead of him, have been really helping all those drivers out to find their pace. But these two teammates in it for a really good battle right now in that brand new Toyota Camry and Dark Horse Mustang, just released for the College Cup Series, or the NASCAR Cup Series this season, and brought to iRacing for us to use in the College Cup Series.
Yeah, a rather recent addition. These cars, fun to watch them try and navigate the road course here in Montreal. Looking right here, good battle developing. This is the 13 of Lucas Moody on the back bumper of Thomas Toomey in that 166. The all-black car there is Toomey, who's trying to defend from the 13. Ball State's got 2 cars in the top 5, trying to make it the top 4 here as he looks to the inside. Now back to the outside here. Unable to get the pass done that time by, but Lucas Moody looks like he's got some pace here tonight. And so does Zach DeWale as he starts to close in here as well.
Looking in at Lucas Moody, who joined us last week in the booth, and looks like a little mistake from Zach DeWale. No, it was DeWale avoiding Lucas Moody, who completely blows through and misses the chicane. Actually, I think DeWale did as well. So both of those drivers testing the limits of the brakes and going just a bit too far and on a wild ride through the grass in turns 8 and 9. So already we're only 3 laps into this race, and these drivers are leaving it all out onto the track. They know how much each position means. As Jason Wallet has a moment, looks like he tried to mount an attack on Andrew Burrell into turn 10, but couldn't quite get the job done, as all these cars pretty much nose to tail coming down the casino straight into the final chicane.
Yeah, and you could see with the onboard camera there, we got a little bit of a reaction out of Moody when he overshot that corner, but went right back to locked in. So he certainly looks like he's here to try and make some noise here tonight. Is looking on back. Wallet has gotten to the left side of Burrell, the inside of turn 1. Trying to clear him here, switching back to take away the position in turn 2. He'll move up into the 8th place spot. And now Drexel's going to set sail from Burrell Burl under attack now from Andrew Stagey. The 88 there looking to try and capitalize on the 121 falling back into his grasp. Not sure if he'll be able to get the pass done anytime soon, but he is now within striking distance. As the 121 just trying to stay in this top 10 here. The top 10's got a little bit of a gap back to that 11th place car in Ben Kellner. So a little bit of time to try and stretch that lead out.
As we're riding on board with Stagey right here as he's trying to chase down that 121 car from Clemson University of Andrew Burl. You can see heavy onto the brakes, getting that 3,400-pound Cup car slowed all the way down. And Stagey took a pretty decent chunk out of that gap between him and Burl later on the brakes. Burl, when you're road racing in these Cup cars and really any car, rhythm is key, and any mistake like that, a little bit of a lockup from Burl, can ruin that rhythm. And when you get off of rhythm, it just wreaks so much havoc on your pace, because you got to get back in your rhythm, back in your cycle, back in the groove per se. And that's maybe what's happening to Andrew Burl. He had that attack from Wallet just about a lap ago coming into turn 10, the hairpin, and he's lost a couple of positions ever since. Couldn't get on the throttle there out of turn 14 at the Wall of Champions, and Stagey is just going to drive right by him on the pit straight into turn 1, and that is another position lost for Burl right now.
Burl's having a lot of trouble getting off and getting onto the power on turn 14. Both the past 2 laps, he's lost out to Jason Wallet, now this time Andrew Stagey. He seems to be running the rest of the course fine. No one else has really been able to mount an attack on him through that part of the course. But then they get to turn 14, get into the front stretch, and the power just doesn't seem to be there for the 121 off that corner. So I'm sure that's something that's very present in his mind if another car pulls up behind him going into that corner, because that does not seem to be a place where he's been able to defend very well. As we're seeing this back half of the top 10 start to work their way through a little bit of lap traffic here, developing pretty early already on lap number 5.
I believe that was the 62 car.
I think that might be the 34. I think that's Logan Smith in the 34. It does look like Veliky might still be on the lead lap. I think that's his teammate that might be struggling at the moment. If not, I also could be entirely reading the timing tower wrong, which is also very possible.
I just want to say that was a really cool shot from our production crew. You could see the brake rotors in these cars glowing red, orange hot as they get these cars slowed down from about 160 miles an hour down to 30 miles an hour through that corner in just a couple hundred feet. So these giant disc brakes on these cars working overtime, as there's a big moment right there. That is Logan Smith from Auburn University. Locks it up, has to go through the chicane, get the slowdown and over the sausage curves to come back onto the track. But he is going to keep it out of the wall, and he's going to keep it moving forward. So fair play to him on a good save, as his day will continue after that little incident.
Yeah, he'll keep rolling right along. Rough start to it, 3 laps down at the moment for the 34, but going to keep logging some laps and hoping to get a few of those positions back. Jumping back up here to the outside of the top 5, Lucas Moody has once again tracked down Thomas Toomey as they all get around the 26 of Edward Sanchez, who I think just bailed out of that situation, not wanting to be involved in them trying to battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So that is Jake Cummings leading Toomey and Lucas Moody here through the back part of this course, now going to make their way to the hairpin in turn 10.
Whoa,
Actually,
and a little wide there for Moody.
Yeah,
Moody got a little wide coming out of turn 9.
Wow, look how bright the brake rotors were, the rear brake rotors were there on the 76 for Wallet. He is certainly putting in some work here, and he is in this train of cars, battling with DeWale and Stagey and Ryan Whitlock for that matter. 4 cars nose to tail through the hairpin. Big moment for the 519. DeWale able to save it. However, he might lose out here to Jason Wallet as they make their run down to the Wall of Champions.
These two drivers going to be side by side, and look at Stagey behind them with a chance to pounce in case of any contact or mistake. The two are going to go door to door, trading paint into turn 13, into 14, and we're going to ride literally on board with both of these drivers as that battle will resolve for the time being. Zach DeWale able to maintain his position after driving defensively, incredibly defensive against Jason Wallet. good driving for both of those drivers to keep this battle going, as Wallet is right there once again to the back bumper of DeWale through turn 2, and Stakey is with them. And look at Andrew Burrow closing up to the back of them with Ricky Paz.
Yeah, this is starting to get become a really big battle for 7th here. We can see Zach DeWale and Andrew Stakey on the bottom of our screen right now, currently scored in the 7th and 9th spot. And you can just see the focus, but you can also see the wheel action. I mean, both of these guys are really working that wheel right now. There is no easy way around this course. There's some smoke up ahead of us here. Someone is backwards. It's the 26 of Edward Sanchez. And everyone will roll on by. Luckily, the 26 off to the side of the track. Now going to try and get it going. Oh, big moment there for Finnerty. That could have been dicey, but the 321 able to get around the 26. Edward Sanchez's day so far in Montreal has not been all that peachy.
Yeah, no full course yellows when you're road racing here in the Flexware Cup Series. That is a change from our typical protocol. It's going to be local yellows only unless we get a huge incident or something that blocks the track. So the 26 having a moment going on to the backstretch. He had that thing completely backwards all the way up against the wall, was able to get it rejoined relatively safely. But when those yellow flags fly, you got to have your wits about you, because you don't know what's going to be waiting up in front of you. And in that case, it was good hands from the 321 of Finnerty to avoid the 26 rejoining the track.
That it was. There was also saw there while you were saying that. We're on board with this battle here for 13th. Ben Kellner holding off Matt Nordberg right now. Nordberg gave him a shot going through turn 10. Kellner, though, able to hold on to it, and now he'll be rolling ahead, trying to keep both the 076 and the 37 of Charles Wembley from Guilford. They're running nose to tail right now, 13, 14, 15. So some pockets of action all around this track right now. It's a couple of freight trains of trying to battle for position. You can definitely see where some drivers have the pace versus they have the pace to get up to the guy in front of them, but maybe don't have the time or the space to make the move. And we're starting to see these battles develop right now, like we're seeing here with Kellner, Nordberg, and Guilford, or like we had been watching earlier with that battle in the back half of the top 10.
It's one thing to catch the guy in front of you. It's a completely different thing to get around him.
Speaking of get around them, Lucas Moody has cleared Thomas Toomey. That number 13 will sail into 4th place. Finally gets around that University of Virginia driver, and now will look to track down Jake Cummings. But Ball State looking to try and get 2 guys on the podium here if Moody can get up to Jake Cummings.
And it looked like a gaggle of cars going into turn 10 right there. A couple of drivers side by side going into the hairpin. I believe that was Matt Nordberg and Charles Wembley. Charles Wembley, first time we're mentioning his name tonight. He's had a very, very strong debut season or a full-time debut season here in the Flexware College Cup Series for Guilford College. But he's to the inside of Matt Nordberg. He will actually complete that pass before they get to the final chicane. But Nordberg gets a really good exit out of turn 14 and is all over the back bumper of that 37 car. Will he try to make the move into turn 1? Here he shows the attack to Wembley's left side. Nordberg a little bit later on the brakes. The two are going to touch coming out of turn 1. Can Wembley get the switchback done? Nordberg stays alongside. Yes, he can. Wembley successfully defends that position he just took. What a phenomenal, about a half a lap battle between the 37 and the 076 right there.
Yeah, Charles Wembley has quietly put together one of the better seasons so far in the CIL. Currently scored 5th in the points. Still looking for that elusive first victory of the year, though. And right now, running outside the top 10, it may not come today, but looking to get another solid points hold to maintain that points advantage that he has right now. And he looks like he's doing a decent job now getting around Matt Nordberg. We'll see if he can drive up to Ben Kellner, who was giving Nordberg some fits a couple laps ago. But there is still plenty of time to do so. I mean, we're only on lap 9 of this 35-lap race, and already we're seeing a lot of cars starting to get pretty aggressive. Look how bright those brake rotors are. My goodness. Well, you can light up the night sky with a couple of those, and it's bright as day. As there goes Kellner. The 79 goes around. Ball State's Ben Kellner going to have to try and get it righted here off of turn 10. It looked like he was in good position now with Nordberg battling Wembley, but then a bit of a self-spin off the corner will set him back several positions. And now all that work he did to hold on to that position is for naught.
He's going to lose 7 positions, dropping back to P18 on track because of that spin. And that's what we talked about at the top of the show and in the ignition zone as well, is one little mistake. You can tap the throttle just a little bit too much, and that can ruin your race. As we saw him get on the gas just a little bit too aggressively coming out of turn 10 in a moment for Hunter Hennessy. That Clemson car going for a little bit of a ride.
Oh, it might do it again. That thing has not settled down just yet. Gotta imagine those tires are hot, hot, hot right now with the way he's sliding around. It wouldn't shock me either with how bright those brake rotors were. I know it's a chilly day in Montreal, but down on the track right now, those things are cooking. You can see how bright those brake rotors were going into turn 10. Honestly, I just think it's really cool that iRacing shows that in the game. I mean, it's a small feature, but it really adds a lot to show how much they're being worked here. As you see, we got Whitlock and DeWale here battling on track for 6th right now.
Yeah, these two teammates still going at it. As a big lockup and a Jason Wallet. Jason Wallet has gone around. There's somebody that we expected big things out of today. Finished 4th at the Roval just a couple weeks ago, and he was running well inside the top 10, and he is going to drop down to 11th as a result of that spin, and he is going to be kicking himself for that. But another mistake for one of our drivers inside the top 15, and it's going to put a ding in their chances of a good points haul today.
It certainly will, but he's got plenty of time to make it up. That gap up back into the top 10's only a few seconds, so if he gets that thing collected and, you know, refocuses up, I'm sure he'll have the time to try and regain the positions he lost here. As looking on track, we've got this battle for 13th right now. Matt Nordberg has found his way back to the back bumper of Charles Wimbley. That 37 from Guilford College trying to get away from the Wolfpack, but right now Nordberg not letting him get away so easily as they make their way through turns 3 and 4.
Wembley got a really good exit out of turn 2 right there and was able to put about 3 or 4 car lengths between him and Nordberg. Ooh, excuse me.
It's all the sugar from the maple syrup. It's starting to make it crash.
I had too much Tim Hortons for dinner.
We only slightly apologize for the amount of Canadian references we'll be making. It's not often the CIL gets to venture across the border of the U.S. here tonight. First time in 10 seasons, actually, that the Flexware Cup Series has been going that way. So it is worth noting, we haven't talked about it much here tonight, Zach, but these guys are going to have to come down pit road at some point here. We're thinking probably within the next 10 laps or so. They will not be able to make it on 1 tank of fuel. And because of that, we're going to probably see a lot of interesting pit strategy as far as tires are concerned. Who knows what those tire temps are at, especially if you spun like someone back there. Was that the 19? No, I don't believe it was. It was a yellow and white car, but someone was backwards there trying to get around. That is one of the Valpo cars. I believe it's Ethan Decatur.
And he's going to...
00 having a rough go there.
He's going to wait for his slowdown to end, coming to a complete stop through the chicane. Is he maybe trying to find a good place to rejoin the track? Yes, he is. Fair play to Decatur for waiting for the field to go by to rejoin the track so he didn't cause another sort of incident as a result of his lockup. But yeah, you can see your Floatic TV race analysis in the bottom right hand of your corner. Race length 35 laps, 95 miles, about 2 minutes per or minute and 50 seconds per lap. 50-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit. These drivers do have more sets of tires available in the event that they overheat the set they're on, whether it's they're driving the car too deep or they have a spin like we saw Decatur just go around, and the fuel tank will last up to about 25 laps. So we're about halfway through this first green flag run, and then we will see a lot of drivers come down pit road by the end of lap 25.
You know, I know it's not something they'll be able to replace, but you got to wonder if any of these drivers are in the back of their mind thinking, wonder if we could slap some new brake rotors on this thing for the second stint. As you see, this is the battle here at Edwin and Onofre look to the inside of Schulenberger as they clear Sanchez, who's just continuing the struggle here tonight. The Baruch College driver has had a night to forget so far, currently scored 30th, 4 laps down as he looks to rejoin safely. Looks like he found a good window there to get back going. But yeah, that was the battle with Edwin Onofre and Brandon Schulenberger. They were running for 15th at that moment in time. I believe they still are. Looking just a little farther ahead, though, Alex Finnerty has fallen back into the clutches of Charles Wembley and Matt Nordberg, who continues to pester the back bumper of that 37. And now this has become a 3-car battle for 12th.
Yeah, cautions breed cautions, and that happens within the cockpit as well. Whenever you spin the car, it heats those tires up a ton. And so after you spin, you can't just go back to driving your normal line. You've got to absolutely baby that thing around the corners because your tires are going to be like ice. They're so hot. So you got to wait for them to cool back down before you can really start pushing that car again. As Nordberg losing out on this battle by just a little bit of moment there into turns 5 and 6. But he's lost out on about 10 car lengths to Guilford and Wembley, just ahead of him as that 37 car looking to go all over the bumper. No, yeah, that 37 car is all over the back bumper of the 321.
Yeah, Charles Wembley has been within a car length here of Finnerty the better part of this lap. Does he try to make a move here through turn 10? Took a bit of a wider entry to get deeper into the apex of the corner. Doesn't seem like it netted him any time there, but they will race their way back down the stretch here. Finnerty, Wembley, Nordberg, 3 in a row here, and now they also can see Jason Wallet in the distance. Maybe a little bit of a draft boost going down here. I mean, you do get up to some good speeds here on those straightaways, and you really need to lock it down in these corners. And someone's around a Sienna win of Dylan Godinez, who nearly pinned the entire bit of the field coming off of turn 14. Luckily, there was about a car length of space for everyone to slide on by, but that could have been rough.
Yeah, good job by the 808 to keep it out of the wall. Looks like the car might have just looped on him in the braking point going into 13, but excellent job by him to keep that car out of the wall and relatively pointed straight, not completely backwards on track, and able to rejoin safely and continue his race.
That he will. I mean, looking at this, it's right now, Charles Wembley very much just settled in, waiting to see when will be the moment to strike. You know, he's been sitting within this range of Finnerty for the better part of a lap and a half now. We've seen a lot of passing happen going into turn 10. We've also seen a lot of people make it happen on the straightaway off of turn 14. So either one of those could be the move here for Wembley. Curious to see if he'll get a run here going into turn 10 to try and make that happen, or if we'll have to follow him around back toward the start-finish line. Going
looking back up towards the front of the
is Finnerty.
Yeah, looking back up towards the looking back up towards the front of the field for a second. Lucas Moody did lose out on that 4th position to Thomas Toomey for just a couple laps or so, but he has been able to make his way back around that 166 to reclaim the 4th spot in the field, and he's got about a 4-second lead over the 166 right now. As now Wembley all over the back bumper of the 321 into the braking point into turn 13, and now he's going to get a better exit as well. Here's the 37 looking to the inside of Alex Finnerty. Matt Nordberg also ready to pounce should these two drivers collide. There's finally the move. They're still alongside going into turn 2. They might touch a little bit coming out of the corner, and Finnerty defends that attack very masterfully. Brilliant defense from the driver of the 321 and UNC Charlotte, as Charles Wembley has got to be thinking, man, what have I got to do to get around this guy?
Yeah, I mean, that was a textbook setup there from Wembley, just unable to get it around the 321. Finnerty dug in deep there to hold on to that 12th spot. It was also a good job from Wembley not to get too careless with his exit off of turn 2 to give Nordberg a run. He didn't necessarily chop off his nose, but didn't let Nordberg get full extension off the corner, forcing the 076 to not fully get on the throttle either. So a lot of attack and defense here from all 3 of these drivers. Finnerty, Wembley, and Nordberg putting on quite the show out there right now, just outside the top 10.
I think I'm looking at our timing tower where Andrew Burrell might be mounting an attack on Ricky Paz for that 8th position.
He's starting to close in here on the back bumper of that Valpo machine. Paz, that gold number 19. Burl, that pink or the purple and orange 121. We've known he's had some troubles with turn 14. How did he do that time around? Looks like he's going to maintain pace here with the 19 of Ricky Paz, making their way back into turn 1 now. Can he close in through this set of corners?
He got about 2/10 in the braking point, but is going to lose all of it back out of turn 2. So looks like Burl a little bit better on the brakes, but advantage bar goes to Paz on exit. So these two drivers pretty evenly matched as they continue this battle, as that lead is going to grow to about or just under a second there. It is a second right now as they come into turn 6. Another heavy braking point where Burl is going to have the advantage as you see that gap come down just a little bit. But here comes Paz, and that's going to go right back up. But don't look now. But here comes that 88 of Andrew Stagey from Ball State.
Andrew Stagey has had some decent speed here tonight, along with his Ball State teammates. Right now, they've got 3 cars in the top 10. And, you know, if Kellner didn't go around in turn 10 a few laps ago, they may have had 4 cars in the top 10. I mean, they've just had a really complete effort so far here tonight. But speaking of Ball State, the current car still out front is the number 12 of Muhammad Alif, who has just slowly but surely been chugging away up there. You see that red and silver number 12. Now a 9-second gap over second place Clinton Halterman. Hasn't been putting a huge gap on him every lap, but it's been consistent enough where it's starting to really open up over this stint. And right now he is very much in control of this race, and you can just see how smoothly he can handle this course, especially with no other cars in the same zip code.
Yeah, Alif is just an alien. He is phenomenal on these road courses. He knows these cars inside and out, left, right, and backwards as well. He's dominating our Formula C side. We've had, I believe, 12 races over 6 weeks this season, and he's won 10 of them, and only currently being bested by Jordan Johnson in the Prototype Challenge, who's had an unprecedented 6-for-6 win streak.
Wow.
In that series so far. So Alif coming back to the road courses on the Cup side and teaching these guys how it's done. So we're going to go ahead and actually ride on board with our Muhammad Alif, the guy who knows this track and this car so well. We're going to take it on board, and we're going to go ahead and crank it up a little bit. Now 17 laps to go in tonight's Press Subscribe Grand Prix, presented by youtube.com/@CureAllMe. And speaking to tonight's race sponsor, we're going to go ahead and take a look at that number 43 Oklahoma University car. Here's Alex with a quick update on Sky Shrag.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a tough road so far for the 43, but Shrek has moved up through the field a decent bit. Started back in the back couple rows, now up to 22nd and still running here, battling, I believe, with the 22 of Austin DeLong. This is a battle for position, actually, on track here, 22nd. So both of these drivers fighting for every point that they can get here. And this was a bit of a late sponsorship here from the 43, but wanted to pitch in and do their part to help support not only the league, but help try and grow their own channel. So that's what that link is Sky Shrek's channel on YouTube there, youtube.com/at just wanted to give them a quick shout out for sponsoring this race here this evening and putting on a good battle here with Austin DeLong as they run for 22nd.
Yeah, it's that Sooner Esports driver, or the Sooner Esports car with Shrek versus the 22 from the Penn College of Technology. And actually just in front of them, Michael Sidor in the number 15. So Shrek, against all odds, is in a bit of a PCT sandwich right now. So she's going to have her hands full before we get things rolling here. And actually a little bit wide out of turn 10 for that number 43 car, but they're going to keep that thing straight and actually put a little bit of a gap between themselves and the 22 behind.
Yeah, so starting to open it up a little bit on the long as Lucas Moody sideways. That's in turn 10. The number 13, not sure how he got sideways, but the 166 has gone. He has cleared him. And now Moody trying to rally back here. Not sure exactly what happened to him. Hoping we can get a replay of that because he was running up in fourth and was in a pretty comfortable spot. And now will still be scored in the 5th position. So only loses out the 1 spot, but we had a very scary moment there coming off of turn 10.
Yeah, we're going to try and take a look at that incident that sent the 13 around. But like you said, Thomas Toomey able to reclaim that 4th position. Something we don't see very often, and a lot of alumni battling for these top positions in tonight's race. But we're going to take a look at this incident. I'm wondering if he maybe had some help. There you see Toomey actually with an attack to the inside, washes out of the corner, and the two make contact. And that sends the number 13 around. So race control going to have to take a look at that one possibly. That could be a huge, huge penalty call in the grand scheme of this race.
Yeah, I mean, it only cost them the 1 spot, but I mean, it did look like the 166 was having some trouble with them turning there. But also, for every point of, wow, that was a really tough angle into the corner, they also have put almost 20 laps on these tires. And we definitely know that they're hot right now with how bright those brake rotors are glowing. So it also could just be a struggling to handle sort of deal. But that'll be race control to figure out. Certainly not me. Because if they had me doing race control, I think everyone would be miserable.
15 laps to go in this event, tonight's Press Subscribe Grand Prix. First time, as we've been saying all night, that we have come to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in our Flexware College Cup Series, and it has been an incredibly entertaining race so far. As a couple of alumni here, that's Edwin Onofre trying to go to work on the 321 of Alex Finnerty from UNC Charlotte,
launching
and Onofre with the move to the inside late on the brakes is going to miss the corner, and he spins it and actually collects the 321. So both of those drivers picking up just a little bit of damage, as Onofre is going to lose out on a position to the number 7 of Brandon Schulenberger. These drivers are really struggling with putting the power down out of the hairpin tonight.
You could see exactly where the line was for how aggressively you can take turn 10, because Edwin Onofre stepped about 0.2 inches over it and lost the back end there on the exit of turn 10, but he went flying in the corner entry there, went right around the 321 and nearly got it to stick all the way around. I bet if he tries that on fresh tires, he might be able to get that to work. Unfortunately for both him and the 321, it didn't. So now Onofre back to 15th with a bit of damage. Finnerty will soldier on there in the 13th spot, trying to hold off Brandon Schulenberger. There's been a lot of action in this, say, 7th through 15th range here tonight. I feel like we keep coming back here because that's where all the action is on track tonight.
Well, the top 10 is relatively spread out right now, with the exception of a couple battles. I see Ryan Whitlock, Zach DeWale still going at it. That battle has not been resolved since the start of this race, as well as Ricky Paz and Andrew Burrell. Now Burrell has caught back up to the back bumper of Ricky Paz, but the grid from about 7th all the way back to 15th, like you said, has been so tight. It's been so competitive among these drivers. It has put on some phenomenal racing. But now you're looking at the number 13 as we do have some drivers come down pit road. Thomas Toomey for UVA has decided to elected to come down pit road and have his car refueled and serviced.
And this is about the start of the pit window. We were thinking, oh, he didn't. I don't know if he stopped. Did he?
Oh, he might have gotten. Hold on. He might have gotten a drive-through penalty.
If so, that's a brutal turn of events for the 166. Although it looks like he did come out ahead of Whitlock and DeWale. But man, I was about to say, here's the pit cycle kicking off, and instead he didn't stop. He just rolled right on through. So back to 5th place, Thomas Toomey goes. Although realistically, it doesn't seem like he lost too much time to the 13.
Yes, it was confirmed by race control. Thomas Toomey has been assigned fault for that contact with the 13 of Lucas Moody just a couple laps ago, and was assessed a drive-through penalty in the middle of the race by race control. So he will be relegated back to the 5th position with an 8-second gap between him and Moody ahead. So he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to try and reclaim that position that he lost.
Yeah, so he'll have plenty of work to do, but still has 13 laps to do it. As we see the 124 of Stockner got well wide coming off of turn 10 there, so the 166 will certainly pull up onto his back bumper. Stockner right now scored 22nd. Right now running behind Sky Shrek and ahead of Michael Sidor. But 13 laps to go here. And this is where I think the pit window would open for a lot of folks. Is now Toomey coming back down pit road. Maybe this time is the actual pit stop here for the 166. There's only one other car on pit road, and that's someone we actually have the opportunity to talk to for a quick second here. We have the opportunity to talk real quick to the 26 of Edward Sanchez as we see him on pit road as the 166 will roll on by. So welcome to the booth there, Mr. Sanchez. It seems like it's been a tough go out here tonight.
Oh man, I mean, tell me about it. Montreal, it's got hands, man. I gotta give it to these fellas. I gotta give it to Muhammad Alif. Like I've seen this man do it in Formula, but I'm like, you know what? This is Cup. I got this. This is my domain. I was so wrong. The pit crew gave me terrible shockers. The car was just not it. But the track, it is a difficult piece of work, but a beautiful piece of work it is, because I've been seeing the type of racing that's going on, and it's insane. I mean, right now I'm on the radio call with Jay Cummings and Brandon Schulberg, and right now Jake is doing really well in 3rd, but man, oh man, it is getting tough out there, especially with lap traffic, and I'm glad that I didn't impede on anybody's race. I've kept it off the road. I've taken a little shortcut, a little lawn mowing to the sand, but I will say that the curbs are a killer for this type of car. The car is just too heavy. It just slows down way too slow, and when going over those curbs, it just wants to snap. So man, I am just sweating just to get this car under control. But as it stands right now, I'm in last place, but my fellow competitors Ethan and Dylan are out of the race right now, so I want to get a few little laps in to get those positions, and I'll probably finish P28. So I'd say that's a solid day for us, and I finish last.
Well, you do what you can out there, and we wish you the best of luck rest of the way. As you take to the track, we'll let you focus up here, but thanks for popping in for a second there, Edward.
Thank you, fellas, and have fun watching the rest of the race.
And that was Edward Sanchez. We had the opportunity to talk to him middle of the race for a quick second there. It's been a tough go for the 26 so far, but you heard the man. He's going to try and run a few more laps, get a few more positions out on track here before he wraps up his race here tonight in Montreal.
Yeah, I think he's about 5 laps down from just a couple of positions, so he's got plenty of time to get out there and make up a few more spots, as every point matters to him and to the drivers in the field. As we saw Ryan Whitlock come down pit road and make his maintenance stop.
Battle for 8th right now.
Jason Wallet leading, Wallet leading Ryan Whitlock and Charles Wembley battle that'll round out the top 10 with, I believe, lap traffic just behind them. But these 3 cars going at it as Whitlock came down pit road, got his maintenance done, and is back out on track. He has cycled into this battle. So Wallet and Wembley still have yet to pit, but for the time being, this is a battle for position on track.
That it is, and Wembley has very slowly but very effectively worked his way through the field here tonight. This is the highest he's run so far right now in P10. He started the race back outside the top 15 and has just slowly been picking them off one by one. At the rate he's going here, he could find himself into 6th or 7th before this thing's all said and done. Very least 8th, since he can see 8th directly out the front windshield right now. Whitlock and Wallet ahead. Jason Wallet also having a pretty solid run here tonight, as we see Zach DeWale bringing it down pit road for what I'd imagine would be the only time here tonight for the Canada native.
Yep, he saw the 81 of Whitlock come down pit road and said, I'm going to do what he's going to do. As I think we're going to see the rest of the field come down pit road and make their service stop in just a couple of laps from now. A Leaf still, or all of the leaders still out for the time being. The highest car to come down was Thomas Toomey, who was riding in that 5th position. That has since been inherited by Andrew Burrell, who's having a phenomenal run tonight. But Zach DeWale is going to come back out on track to cycle out in 8th, and he is going to rejoin right in the middle of this battle. And I believe he actually is going to come out in front of Whitlock. Whitlock was in front of him for a very, very long time. So DeWale with the advantage on pit road, that's going to net him a position in the long run by about a half a second over the 81 of Whitlock.
Yeah, but I definitely wouldn't say that battle's over yet. That 81 has been deceptively quick here tonight, and I think he could get up to the back bumper of the 519 here, given that they've got 10 laps to go. We'll see if Whitlock's able to get it done, but right now you can see the gap. It's about 6 car lengths between the two, as now Halterman will pit from 2nd place here. That 077 is going to bring it down into that number 2 pit stall and get topped off here for the rest of this race. You don't need a ton of fuel, just enough to get 10 more laps.
Huge, huge, huge report from race control. Thomas Toomey has been disqualified.
Whoa.
Making contact with car number 7, Brandon Schulenberger. That was his 2nd strike of the race, and he has been asked to pull the car back down pit road and retire it to the garage.
Wow.
That is massive for that number 166.
Well, we'll have to see if we can find the replay of the incident that led race control to make that decision. But, wow, that makes me think that your pick might have a better chance than mine here today with 10 laps to go.
Well, I chose the low-hanging fruit of Muhammad Alif, and he's currently 30 seconds in front of Jake Cummings. It's going to be one of the largest margins of victory that we've seen in the College Cup Series. As actually right there, you see Alif has come down pit road.
Yeah,
he's in the
this
pits.
will bring the gap down quite a bit. It might still balloon it back out. I'd imagine it would, but I don't think it'll be 33 seconds. He was only about, I think, 10 seconds clear of Halterman before Halterman came down pit road. So that gap, I think, will drop significantly here as we see some cars going by back on track. Alif with an easy roll into his box. He knows he's got a lot of spare time to work with, so he doesn't have to try and force the issue on anything. So when he pops back out on track here, it looks like he'll still be maintaining a pretty crisp 10-second advantage over Jake Cummings and about 12 seconds over over Halterman.
Yeah, it's a simple splash and dash for the number 12 cars. He's going to put just enough fuel in that thing to make it to the end of the race. 9 laps to go, or half laps to go in this event, but we are going to take a look at the event or the incident that happened between car 166 and car number 7 that resulted in Toomey being disqualified from the race. And it was a lockup into turn 8. Both of those drivers fighting for position. Toomey just a little too aggressive on the brakes, and that ultimately ended his night.
And it's a tough break there because both of those incidents, I think, were just, brakes getting too hot, locking it up, trying to get into the corner. But either way, wiping out multiple cars in a battle for position, something that race control, I'm sure, is not overly fond of. But right now, we're looking on track here. Less than 10 laps to go. Cummings still needs to come down pit road as we see Ricky Paz pulling off right now. And that'll basically do it, barring something catastrophic happening to the 12. He's got a really healthy lead. And the battle here on pit road and looking at who's gained and lost positions, I think the 121 still needs to come down pit road, but right now he's gotten some track position here. The question is if he can hold on to it.
And he's been really quick, too. He's been closing up to the drivers in front of him on pace alone. Not just because they've been down pit road, but he's only 4 seconds back from Lucas Moody. And that gap was about 6 or 7 seconds just 10 laps ago when Burrell got into that position. So he's had a phenomenal race so far tonight, and we just about commentators right there as that car got really sideways coming out of the hairpin.
Yeah, seeing him make his way down toward the wall of champions. Currently scored 5th, trying to get up to Lucas Moody, who's about 5 seconds ahead. Whoa!
And there he's coming down pit road.
Now. I thought he was about to destroy the back of the 124. That was the most terrifying onboard camera I've ever seen.
There's going to be a changing of the guard right there.
What does the car look like? We're about to find out.
I panicked for a second there. I'm not going to lie.
The broadcast team for putting us on board there with that one. Just about gave me a heart attack here at my desk.
Yeah,
So
I saw the back bumper of that one. And I saw the back bumper of that 124 coming up real hot, and I was like, "Oh no, he caught it again." We're gonna commentators curse someone else here, but no. Andrew Burrell coming down pit road to make his service. That's gonna relegate him down to the 7th position. As he's got some lap traffic in the number 15 of Michael Sidor from Penn College of Technology to work for. Still
been a really solid run here tonight for the 121 if he's able to hold on to the 7th place position. Currently 2 seconds ahead of Ricky Paz. Honestly, there's a couple of cars in the field here who have had really good runs tonight. Ryan Whitlock in 6th, Andrew Burrell 7th, and that number P8 car, number 19, Ricky Paz. For Valparaiso having a really strong run here tonight as well. All 3 of those guys looking to walk out of here with quite a bit of points, even though none of those 3, I would say, were probably the favorites coming in here tonight. Little side-by-side action there. Finnerty, Nordberg, and Stagey.
Nordberg leading Finnerty right now. He's to his inside. Stagey still behind them. How long have these cars been fighting on track? This battle has been going on for probably the last 20 laps or so. Stagey just not able to get around either of these guys in front of him. Charles Wembley leading that pack right now. You see the 43 of Shrek a couple laps down just behind them. But Charles Wembley out in front of this pack has a big lock up there from Nordberg. That thing snapped on him, but good hands to save that car as we're going to ride on board with Andrew Stagey down the casino straight to potentially launch a counterattack on Nordberg, who was able to defend that position successfully.
Yeah, he won't have the opportunity to get him into 13, but he could set him up for a run off of 14 back into turn 1 here. Let's see how this goes as Nordberg looks to the inside of Wembley. Oh, Nordberg was trying to get the pit road. We almost had another one of those incidents there in turn 13. Nordberg, though, went to the driver's right of Wembley and then snapped back around. Did he actually get that thing down in the pit road, I wonder?
I would be very, very impressed if he did, because that was one hell of a way to do it, if so.
Yeah, that was certainly not what the kids would call the optimal way to get the pit road, but he's there on pit road, so I guess he must have. But I'm sure that about gave Wembley a heart attack, seeing a car cut across his nose like that, trying to dive in the pit road. Jesus.
And that 88 car at risk of going a lap down at the hands of his teammate Muhammad Alif, who has dominated this race. He's led every single lap so far, lost the lead for about a half a lap to Clint Halterman off the start of the race, but took it back with relative ease and has since driven away and not looked back to that 077 car.
We'll do a little side-by-side action here. This battle too good to leave up top, but down low. We'll also take a look at that replay of Nordberg's pit entry. That bottom screen on board with the 076 as he tried making his way to pit road.
Riding on board with Nordberg. I think the camera might be bugging out just a little bit.
What makes you say that? We missed the fun part. We'll see if we can get that queued up once again. But that seems to camera not being super cooperative. That may be a moment in time we'll just have to rewind to once the night's said and done. As you see, Muhammad Alif slowly creeping in here, trying to put down both Andrew Stagey and Charles Wembley down a lap.
Even the camera got scared there for a second. We're going to
don't
try that
blame him.
again is...
Whoa!
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man. And, yeah, I mean, he got there. We almost had a big Wolfpack paint smear there into the wall of champions.
And if you were Charles Wembley, you're wondering what in the world just happened out in front of your car.
Charles Wembley, I need a new pair of pants after seeing that. I mean, that was terrifying. The entrances to pit road over the past couple laps have been maybe some of the most frightening things I've seen in an automobile. But
certainly entertaining.
Got 5 laps to go here from Montreal, and what has been a really, really entertaining race here tonight in the Please Subscribe Grand Prix. Alif leads Halterman and Jake Cummings right now. Lucas Moody, Zach DeWale, your top 5, with Whitlock, Burrell, Wallet, Paz, and Onofre in the top 10. That 119 sneaking in there in the last couple laps here. I'm not sure when he got up into the top 10, but right now he's holding on to 10th by a good 10-second gap there over the 37.
Yeah, how about those last 2 drivers in the top 10, Ricky Paz and Edwin Onofre? We don't talk about them very often, or we haven't talked about them very often this season. But nice to see that number 19 car having a good run, and Edwin Onofre on his run back up to the top. Hasn't really shown a lot of speed in the past couple seasons, but that 199 car has absolutely come to life tonight for UNT.
Yeah, so we might get a little bit of a battle here, actually, between the 199 and the 19. I split the difference into a car number that didn't exist. The 19 and the 199 here battling for 9th with 4 laps to go. Can Edwin Onofre get up to Ricky Paz right here? This will be an interesting battle. These two know each other quite well. They both have quite a few CIL races under their belt, but maybe not so often on the road courses. So this could be an interesting battle to watch unfold. Oh, let's go on board here. Let's take a look at what Edwin Onofre is seeing from the driver's POV.
Oh, there's a happy man right there. I know he's a huge Daniel Suarez fan.
Oh boy, did he pull off a victory of epic proportions last night. What a thriller that was.
A phenomenal race in the NASCAR Cup Series at Atlanta. Probably one of the best finishes I have ever seen in motorsports. Daniel Suarez taking that win by 0.003 of a second over, I believe it was Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch, 3 wide at the line. But I know Onofre very happy about that as he's got his number 99 merch.
Well, he's trying to massage that arm out. He's getting tired back there, man. It's a lot of work here. 35 laps at Montreal. I mean, especially
he's racing
you gotta whip it.
Well, he's racing a Cup car on a Formula rim, which I mean, you know, that's appropriate for a road race. But I mean, man, that's gotta be tough.
He might be happy to have both of his wrists still attached by the end of this thing with the way that wheel wants to snap around on him, I'm sure.
I'm impressed, really.
Yeah,
little moment for the 19 there.
Opportunity here for the 199. You could see the eyes open.
Oh no!
Michael Seidor denies the opportunity for Onofre to go for 9th. The 15 sideways there in turn 2, so Ricky Paz able to escape the mistake in turn 1, but someone else had a bigger mistake in turn 2.
And I think Onofre would have walked with that position as well. He had he had the switchback. He had a huge run coming out of turn 2, and then boom, there's the 15 sideways on track. So that's got to be really, really infuriating if you're Onofre. But it looked like the 19 had another lockup going into turn 6 that time by. So Onofre now keeping it clean with the advantage. He's going to do everything he can to get to the back bumper of that car and take another position away by the time this thing is all said and done. But he's only got 3 more laps to do it.
Yeah, more like 2.5 years. They're already in turn 10. Although with where the leader is on track, I actually don't know. It might be 3.5 laps with how much that advantage has opened up for Alif. So he's got a little bit of time, but he can't lose focus here, and he can't let that 19 get away. As they make their way down to turn 13, what I have dubbed the most terrifying turn that we've seen so far in this race, just for some close calls. But looks like he got a good run there through 13 and 14. Might be able to make up some ground as they make their way into turn 1. That gap about 0.6 right now. It's opening up a little bit for Paz. But now will it close back down? We know the 19 struggled in turn 1 last time around.
He's there. He's at the bumper, but the 19's going to get some power down and put a little bit of an advantage, or put a little bit of a gap between him and the 199. But that gap was about 0.5, half a second coming into the corner. Onofre with a little bit of a cut right there. Will he get a slowdown for jumping the middle of that corner? Doesn't look like it. So this battle is going to continue. That gap now down to 0.5, but Onofre losing just a little bit on entry, but he's going to gain a ton back on exit. Here's a huge run for the 199. He's going to get to the back bumper of the 19, possibly down the straightaway, getting around the lap traffic of the 124 of Nick Stockner.
They're also
That was a
closing up on
momentous
Wallet
turn.
here for 8th. There's Jason Wallet in 8th place up there. These two guys have been battling so hard they may have worked their way
Here we
into
go.
another position. And here goes Onofre down that left side. He'll be on the outside for the hairpin here. Can he outbrake him? He's going to try and go the long way around here. We're on board with the back of the 19. The 199 almost able to
just his nose.
Ricky Paz said, all right, here's the door. Slamming it in your face here coming off of turn 10. Boy, that was almost calamity for both of those guys, but they're going to be able to keep it together. And as they make their way to 13, Edwin Onofre right there back on the back bumper. He is not letting Ricky Paz get away.
He is bent and determined to take this position away from Ricky Paz and Valpo University. They're going to take this battle all the way to the end, barring any mistakes from these drivers. But Edwin Onofre had such a good run out of turn 10. You saw it when they got back on the gas, and then Paz slid up in front of his nose, slammed that door right in his face. Great defending, aggressive defending from the 19.
Yeah.
You can see
Aggressive
how
is
much
the word
this
I was
position
going to use.
Yeah, you can see just how much this position means to that 19 car and how badly the 199 is going to want it.
Yeah, I tell you what, they have really gained a lot of time on the 76 through this first sector of the course. They did it last lap. They did it this lap again. That 76, I mean, he's got a pretty healthy gap here at about 2 seconds, but it's fallen as little as 1.5 through this section, so something to keep an eye on here in the closing lap. As Onofre again maybe looking there. Try and take that position away. Paz going to shut it off just for the moment. A little bit of a slide there for the 19 coming off that corner as they race their way to turn 10. Onofre is going to get another pretty strong run. He might look to try to the inside this time, right in the tire tracks of the 19. He'll follow him all the way around. The 19's brake rotors look as bright as the sun right now. And as they make their way on down the track, here they go once again. Not sure if that's going to be the case, but this is actually just ahead of our leader who's about to finish this race off.
Yeah, Edwin Onofre is going to finish as the last car on the lead lap if these results hold as is. Muhammad Ali took the white flag last time by, and after a dominant race, he led every single lap, and he's going to win this race by 20 seconds. Muhammad Ali goes 2 for 2 in the road courses this year.
He'll win the Please Subscribe Grand Prix, or the Press Subscribe Grand Prix here, sponsored by YouTube.com at Cure Almy. Victory there to the 12. But that means this battle between Paz and Onofre can still continue for one more lap. Can we take a look here at this battle while this is still going on? Onofre is there.
Is coming down. Onofre's 3, about 4/10 behind the back bumper of Ricky Paz. They're going to come through turn 7 one more time down the backstretch for both of these drivers. Edwin Onofre has the run. Can he present an attack on the 19 this time by? He's going to want to be slow into the chicane, fast out, setting himself up for a run. Lock up from the 19 of Paz. Here's the door wide open for the 199 Onofre. He's side by side. He might have the pass done by the time they get into the hairpin. They're going to come down to turn 10 one more time. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It's Onofre to the outside, Paz to the inside. Paz is there. Little bit of a lockup in the rear from Paz. Paz sideways out of the corner, and Edwin Onofre is going to walk away with that position, but this battle is not over. You can see the reaction from Onofre in the bottom right hand of your screen. He was happy about that one.
He just has 2 more corners to lock it down.
Paz with one more shot. Does he look to the inside? He's later on the brakes. He tried to look to the inside, but Edwin Onofre is going to hold off that position. He is absolutely ecstatic that he took that position on the last lap, and he will finish 9th, and Ricky Paz will finish 10th. What a
And
phenomenal battle to close this race out.
Yeah, they had a really good scrap there in the back part of the top 10. Fun one. But now our Muhammad Alif can rightfully go and burn it down here tonight. Our victor by 19.8 seconds. What a victory for Alif. I mean, he just absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, textbook drive from Alif. He's burning it down on the front stretch as some of our lap cars are coming through down pit road and to finish their race. But I mean, we heard Zach DeWale say he was a second clear in practice. I mean, this was in the stars for Alif that he was going to dominate tonight's race.
And that he did, as there's a bit of a demolition derby here going on the front stretch. Finnerty, Halterman, Sanchez, Cummings, a lot of cars getting torn up here for, can't quite figure out the reason, honestly, but now Halterman going to drive it into the wall here next to Alif. I couldn't tell you what's going on with the 077, but maybe that's the way you celebrate second place. You burn it down for first and you just total the thing for second place. I don't know.
Well, he is the alumni class winner tonight, so that could be his own way of celebrating is destroying the fake race car. But we're gonna try to get
fun
top
time
three
here
finishers.
tonight.
We're gonna try to get all of our top 3 finishers in the booth for interviews and talk to all of them in just a second. We're gonna also try to see if we can get Edwin Onofre in the booth too. Talk to him about that last lap battle.
So we'll see when they join the booth here as we see Ricky Paz roll on by. It's been a weird end to this race here tonight, Zach. I mean, there's just a lot of people burning it down, destroying it. Here comes Lucas Moody binning it into the wall. Don't know what they've got up in the water in Canada, but it's certainly something.
And I think Alif just blew the motor in his car, so his celebrations have unfortunately come to.
It looks like a couple of these drivers are getting out of their cars at this point. So we'll have the opportunity to talk to them in just a moment here. What a fun time here tonight. The second road course we've had this season. And it's both the road courses put on a very entertaining show. The Roval put on a great battle for the win, and this one just put on a lot of great battles throughout. We didn't get that battle for the lead quite like we did at the Roval, but I mean, there was still plenty of fun things to watch throughout the field here tonight, and I had a grand old time.
Let's go ahead and talk to tonight's winner, Muhammad Alif. He's gone 2 for 2 on the road courses this season and is the third driver to pick up his second win of this season. Congratulations on your dominant win.
Thank you. It was a good race, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you went out there, you took care of business. The only time it really seemed like you had much of a challenge was that opening lap. Halterman got on by in the first couple of corners. You had to track him back down. Once you cleared him, was there any concern of pressure from behind, or was it just go out there, hit your marks, and take care of it?
Yeah, pretty much the second one. Just go out there, hit the marks, get the fastest lap as well. And yeah, just take care of business and bring it home. I think that was the order of business.
Well, Alif, you furthered your case, and you're a solid lock into the playoffs, and maybe even one of the favorites in the championship 4, looking beyond the playoff rounds. How are you going to carry this momentum into the rest of the season, as well as into possibly the championship round at the end?
It's going to be very vital. Yeah, I think the oval rounds are going to be tricky, but you know, just up for the challenge, and we'll be pushing hard along with the team. And yeah, just happy with another win. Yeah, just let's keep pushing.
I got one more question for you here, actually, before we. yeah, I didn't mean to jump in. I have one more question for you, though. As a team tonight, it looks like Ball State had a really good run. Obviously, you picked up the win. Lucas Moody looked like he got a top 5, and Andrew Stagey was battling just in and around the top 10 a good bit of the night as well. What does that say for you guys as a team, that as a whole unit, you can come to a track like this and see those kind of results as a unit?
I think it was just like how well we worked before. I was just pushing them a lot, knowing that I more or less know what to do in a road course. I think I was just coaching them a lot, giving them good advice, and I think they've been absorbing it very well, especially Andrew, given he's a just purely oval driver. I think he's been stepping up pretty well. First the others, and Lucas, who comes from more of a road background. So yeah, I think as a team we mostly accomplished our what we needed to do. I think we were 1-2 in terms of students. So that was a good one. Obviously would have wanted the rest probably closer to me. But nonetheless, I think we still got the win. Ball State got the win. I think this is the third or fourth race in a row where Ball State's number one. So very happy with that. And yeah, let's go for the next round.
Yes, this is Ball State's 4th win in a row in the College Cup Series. I believe you now tied Jared Kaler and UNC Charlotte for the longest win streak in Cup Series history. Congratulations on the win tonight. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out? You've got the show.
Yeah, all my teammates who are in the background just doing a post-mortem for the race. Oval drivers, road drivers, everyone. BK and Dan for all their support. They're the directors and assistant directors for the program, esports program here in Ball State. And then we have Dean Turner as well for all her support. My family back in Singapore for watching and all their support, and all my sponsors.
Well, congratulations on your win tonight, Alif. We'll see you back here in the booth very, very soon.
Thank you. See you guys.
That was tonight's winner, a dominant winner, Muhammad Alif and Ball State University, locking out their fourth win in a row here in the College Cup Series, and in dominant fashion as well.
Absolutely. I mean, just took care of it, and I mean, basically unchallenged the whole night. The only person who could have had a fighting chance is the guy we're going to talk to next.
Let's go ahead and talk to our runner-up finisher tonight, Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte. Congratulations. You finished second at a road course instead of third. So big improvement there for UNC Charlotte. We saw the challenge for the lead. You took it away for a little bit on lap 1, and then Alif was able to get back around you. Take us through that moment where you took the lead.
I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I was like, oh my God, I took the lead. I didn't think I could do it. And it gave me a little bit more confidence because I knew I probably wasn't as fast as Alif, but I felt like if I got the lead, I could maybe hold him up for a little bit. And because I knew we were probably going to be I knew we were going to both probably be quicker than third place, but then going into the hairpin, I missed my shift to go up to 4th gear, I think, and I just threw off my entire rhythm going into there, and then he was able to just dive under me because I was just trying to miss my shift up to 4th, and I just couldn't get the car to go into 4th, and so I just kept it in 3rd there, and I broke probably a little bit earlier than I needed to, so he was able to just get under me, and then that was it. I was able to keep pace with him for a little bit, but then Alif just found another gear there. He's just able to smash over I don't know how he does it. He just smashes over the curbs. And these cars hate going over those curbs, so I don't know how he's able to do that. But yeah, I was pretty excited. I was hoping I could at least lead 1 lap, but I messed up there and couldn't get the 1 lap lead. But it was nice to at least have a glimmer of hope for a second there that I might be able to challenge for the win.
Well, if it makes you feel better, you were the only other car who was registered as P1 at some point tonight, so it may not go down in the stat book as a lap led, but for a brief glancing moment, the 077 was the first car on the list. But
we take that.
I do want to ask you now, another podium finish here, another solid run, really, and you've been having a pretty good season by and large. However, to my understanding, you're still looking for that first victory of the season. Do you like your odds in the last couple tracks here of Vegas, Phoenix, or Bristol, or is it just going to be pointing your way into the playoffs and then letting it roll from there?
Bristol, I don't like Bristol a lot. That's really just a survival track there. Not a big fan of Bristol. Vegas, I feel like I'm decent at like the mile and a half there, but I don't think I really have winning speed at the mile and a half, so I'm probably looking just for a top 10. But I think Phoenix is really, I think for me looking at this, that's probably my only last chance of the season for a win, probably, or my best chance at a win, by just like a pace standard. I think it's I know Leaf is really good at Phoenix too, and I think just the road courses in Phoenix are kind of like it translates a little bit just by the braking, how you brake at those tracks. So Phoenix is probably one of my better opportunities, but I think I think it's gonna be tough. I think I'm have pace to run towards the front, but I'm missing that little bit to really be able to challenge for the win consistently. But you never know with these races. You get some sort of pit strategy can happen. If you're near the front a lot, then you can. There's a good chance you can challenge for the win. But yeah, I really I didn't get a good result at Pocono or at Daytona, but two podiums here at the road courses. Those are what my point situation is looking like. But I'm really just looking for some solid races for these next three to try and just kind of point my way into the playoffs. And if I get a chance for the win, that a chance at a win, that'd be great too.
Well, you are the first driver. You are the first driver in the playoffs who doesn't have a win. Currently sitting at P5. You have strengthened your lead over Charles Wembley, Drew Williams, and Jason Wallet by virtue of finishing ahead of them. So I'd say your chances of pointing into the playoffs are pretty solid. So what is that? How are you? Are you starting to prep for the playoffs to possibly make a run at the championship or are you more of a 1 week at a time kind of guy?
Yeah, I think I kind of just take it 1 week at a time. Really, I feel like you can't really I don't really know what I don't know if I start focusing. I think Darlington's the first race. If I start focusing on Darlington, I take my focus away from the next three races. Something bad can happen this next three, and all of a sudden I might have a comfortable lead right now, but come to the end of the regular season at Bristol, I might not have that. And especially with Bristol being I think that's the last race before the playoffs. That scares the hell out of me because Bristol's such a wild card. And especially, I guess now that they've changed the rules package, there's gonna be even less downforce at Bristol. So I'm nervous for that race. So yeah, I'm just kind of taking it one race at a time. Really, gonna just be. It's nice though that these next three races follow the actual NASCAR schedule. So the official series will be lining up here. So gonna have some extra practice there for these next three by running some official races. So that would be cool. Especially with these next three races, definitely gonna be taking it one step at a time, and then get to the playoffs. Then we'll just go from there.
Well, congratulations on your runner-up finish tonight. Still always a threat on these road courses that seem to be playing in your favor. While we've got you on the show, you know the drill. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I just want to thank my friends and family. Thank my couple of my friends, Jared and Benet, who were watching along there. Also, gonna shout out my friend once again, Alex Finnerty, where he can't finish 15th. Another top 15 for him. Probably will make. I think his next start won't be until the end of the season, but I've told him he's being addicted to these top 15s. I feel like every time he does a race, he finishes in 15th. So yeah, like I said, I think at the Roval he's just starting out and he's just getting a little bit faster each week. So it's nice to see him continue to carry the banner for UHC Charlotte. And I want to also thank y'all again for putting on another great race. And I'm hoping that I'll come up one spot better than the next one.
Yeah, congratulations again, and hopefully we'll see you back here at the booth soon.
Thank you, guys.
That was our runner-up finisher tonight from UNC Charlotte, Clint Halterman. Let's go ahead and talk to our third place finisher, Jake Cummings from Wingate University. Congratulations on another podium.
Hi. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry, I'm not on the Zoom, unfortunately. I don't have that on my phone, and I don't have a webcam set up right now, but you can listen to my voice at least.
Well, that is all we're asking for here tonight, so the people can hear what's on your mind, particularly with this race we've had tonight from Montreal. I mean, you put it fourth to start, got a position off the first couple corners, and then never really looked back. What was the race looking like from your viewpoint here when you spent most of it running in that final podium spot?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, that's where I was hoping I'd be running. I figured Morton would be here, and I was hoping to just be best of the rest. And well, I was still third, but Clint got the better of me, which might be more important for the alumni championship. But yeah, it was really messy, honestly. Don't watch my qualifying laps because the outlap and the first push lap I spun like I had slow spins 3 times. I was lucky to put it where I did. It just didn't have the same kind of grip as we did in the practice at the start at least. But yeah, then Lucas was just super cautious in the turn one, and that's how I got the position off him. Had fun watching Clint and Leaf battling. I was enjoying that. Thought they might do something that could give me a bit of a benefit, but yeah, then we kind of just settled in. They took off a lot after that first lap. They were able to gain the confidence in the car a lot faster than me, and I had some pressure behind from Thomas and Lucas, and I was thinking, okay, I got to get settled in here. I'm not just going to be driving away from these guys effortlessly. Um, so eventually we got a bit of a gap, and they kind of squabbled a little bit, which helped, of course. I had my own issues, missing the final chicane once and having to take the runoff and a couple other things. It was just really weird. No dissing to the card track combination. I think it's really interesting to try out different things, but just kind of inconsistent braking. And what I found was that usually you blip in these cars on the downshift to keep it, settled and everything. And there was some where you didn't want to do that because then you couldn't brake as late. And then there's others where you kind of had to. So it was like half the time you were, half the time you weren't. It was interesting to kind of play around with that. And yeah, I couldn't take some of the corners to save my life, and that might have cost me some. But Elif and Halterman were out of there, and then me and Halterman kind of stabilized with our gaps to each other for a while. And yeah, I mean, it was a pretty nice race. I was just focused on not making any mistakes. There were quite a lot in practice from me and a bunch of other people, so that's always the case with these kind of races. Is just don't make any mistakes, and you're bound to finish top half at least. So yeah, we were able to just be on our own for most of it, which is the best thing you can hope for. We're keeping up pace here, and the lappers are pretty nice to me, at least, and we were able to bring it home. Lucas was coming on really hard, though. Don't remember I said that. He had a lot of pace there the last 5 laps or so, and he was coming on. Whatever. He was gaining a lot on me in those last few laps with really quick lap times, and I was just chatting it up with my friends, just chilling because I thought I had 12 seconds to him with all those issues, and all of a sudden he's within 4. So I had to pick it up. Did some really good laps there in the end, and then he kind of just plateaued a bit, and I was able to hold on. So that was fun. And then obviously my favorite part of that whole race though was right after with the image of the race, thanks to producer Christian.
Yeah, you got airborne, dude. How did
Yeah,
that happen?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I just saw that in the chat.
I was aiming for everyone was telling me, oh, you got to hit the big, turtle curbs, and I was thinking, okay. And then I was thinking, how do I do that? Like, because I never really thought about where it is in relation to just if you don't brake at all. So it was way too sharp of an angle to hit the second one. But everyone's saying they hit the first one. They weren't getting the air they wanted. So I was aiming for the second one, missed it, got a little bit of air right before we hit the orange little turtle curb that keeps people from just rejoining unsafely. And then hitting that is what made me go airborne. And honestly, that was a better result than I could have ever hoped for doing anything else. I don't know. I need to talk to Alex. I don't know if he needs a new change of underwear or something. But yeah, clipped him just a little bit. It would have been even more perfect if I just missed him. But yeah, that was
Land on top of them, really Herbie, fully loaded style.
yeah, have to. I love that movie as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but no. And then it was kind of funny, just the car naturally stopping right next to a leaf doing burnouts. Like, what on earth just happened to this man? Um, but yeah, that was fun. I laughed quite a lot when that happened.
Well, Jake, congratulations on another podium finish here. It's a good run for you as you build some momentum looking towards the playoffs and that alumni championship that you, Zach DeWale, Clint Halterman, and Andrew Williams are fighting for pretty tooth and nail right now at the moment. But you know the drill. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I figured it out while you were saying that. First, I want to say that this season has not been going very well for me in that fight. I think I could have a much better chance if it weren't for some internet issues and some of my own wrongdoing, and also what happened at Daytona. That's thankfully been rectified with the new rules update. Thank you everyone who did that very swiftly and appropriately and professionally. But yeah, I'd actually like to thank my older sister. Not the first time I thanked her was when I won the race 1 for letting me stay here. But the second time now is actually they've actually had someone to come out and fix my internet. I disconnected at the Charlotte Roval. I don't know if anyone caught that, but I was running third like on lap 3 and disconnected and finished 4 laps down. So I was kind of gutted about that because these playoff points really matter, finishing in the top 5. Because I mean, the main reason I didn't have a good shot last season was just because I had I had 6, I think, and now I'm up to probably 9 or something, which is already a big help. Even those 3 points, you never really know what it could come down to. So, getting up those playoff points, I missed a lot of opportunities to get those with Charlotte and Daytona did well there to start, and the Roval where I disconnected. So just being able to pick them up where I can here, that was all I was hoping for. But I thank her for having someone to come out and fix the internet. Hopefully, it's fixed now. I don't have to worry about it. It's kind of important to have stable internet when you do this kind of thing. So yeah, I thank her for doing that for me. And hopefully we don't have any more issues there. And I also want to thank you guys once again for putting on a good broadcast and being so professional.
Always. Congratulations
appreciate
again, man. And thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Congratulations again on your top 3 finish, and hopefully we'll see you back in here very, very soon.
And hopefully we see your foot being better soon, Zach.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's the story that I know.
I need my certificate.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll catch you later, Jake. Take it easy. That was our 3rd place finisher tonight, Jake Cummings from Wingate University. I dropped the torque converter on my foot last week at work. Didn't break it like I thought I did, but there's still some black and blue all over it. I might race in Formula C tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see how it feels. But we're going to go ahead and move into our last interview of the night. Edwin Onofre from the University of North Texas. He finished 9th, but had that phenomenal last lap pass around the 19 of Ricky Paz. Take us through that battle.
First off, I have no words to state my emotion right now. I'm just very surprised that I was able to go from last because I don't know how, but I ended up spinning out on lap 1 on that first turn. And I thought, oh God, what have I done? So then I was like, all right, you know what? It's still an early race. Not many people are experienced in the Montreal track or even with road cars, with the cup cars on a road track. So I just said, all right, you have already burned up your rear tires just spinning out. Now you got to play it safe. You have better pace than most of the other drivers. So you just got to work your way up and avoid trouble at all costs. Luckily, I was able to avoid enough trouble and have the pace to battle Ricky Paz. And I'll just say, he definitely didn't make it easy to let me pass by him. Well, the thing about that battle is that I was just taking it easy too, because I don't want another competitor to be angry at me because I was just trying to race them hard. I believe that there was in-camera moments of my reaction of when I tried to pass him and he just kept getting the advantages, especially when I don't know if it was Michael Seidor or Austin DeLong that
was going to be my next question for you, actually.
It
looked like you had that perfect opportunity going through 1 and 2. You lined up the switchback perfectly, and then there's just a car sideways directly in front of you. What was going through your mind at that point when there was, the full broadside of a PCT car staring at you?
I've always had better runs in turn one or turn two rather, because apparently everybody's just been going really wide there. I entered turn one a little bit later than others, but in that lap, I was just again taking it easy, so that way I wouldn't just unintentionally go too far in and hit Ricky. Now I shifted down to first gear so that way I can get the rotation, and I don't know if Ricky was in second, but he ended up going wide out there, and that was my opportunity to pounce. And then I get the yellow flag saying that there's a car on the right side. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I just had to back out right there because there was no way, given how narrow that area is, I had to back out. I couldn't do anything about it. There was more laps, but I was just thinking that might be it. That was just my final chance because passing is so difficult at this course. Nonetheless, on a cup car, that was the one shot that I thought I didn't have. Luckily, there was a final hairpin, and I didn't expect on the pass on the outside to be successful, first off, but props to Ricky for keeping it on their own line on the inside, and luckily not spin the rear tires out to the point where he and I were taken out as a result.
Well, it's been a great couple of days for you, Daniel Suarez. We see all the merch stacked up behind you and your shirt. Daniel Suarez picking up that phenomenal win last night, and you with the incredible. I'd be dared to call it the move of the race tonight to take away that ninth position on the last lap. But congratulations on that amazing battle. You certainly put on a heck of a show for us out there. But you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. While we got you here on the show, anybody you'd like to shout out?
Like to shout out to Daniel Suarez. I believe I am his #1 fan, even though it's not official. I mean, I got this as proof. I got this as proof.
Hey, nice.
I got this
How
as
long have
proof.
you had that sitting there?
Just before I was
ready.
I mean, I gotta show it up just in case he sees this. This is all to him. That finish at Atlanta was amazing. So shout out to him first off. I like to shout out to my family for giving me the continued support of racing, or of me trying to reach to my dream career of hopefully get into a real life race car and hopefully get from there. iRacing is what started it, and I'm hoping I can finish it off like William Byron. I'd like to thank the University of North Texas for allowing me to find opportunities for my career in mechanical engineer, which I believe I am interested in one that I found as a drafter or in CNC machinery. I believe I'll go to Haas for that, but I'll see if Haas is currently accepting applications for that time. And I'd like to thank you guys for putting up the broadcast. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved every portion of it.
Well, congratulations again, Edwin. Move of the race and a well-deserved result after all that battle. And hopefully we'll see you back here on the show very soon.
Hopefully soon, and hopefully I'll see Daniel Suarez in victory lane soon.
Nice.
All right.
Take it easy, man. Have a great evening.
Have a good night.
That was Edwin Onofre with that amazing last lap battle to take away the ninth spot at the death with just a couple of corners left in the race. But man, Alex, what a race from flag to flag. Brand new track, brand new combination experience for these drivers, and I think they all absolutely loved it, and it put on a phenomenal show for us tonight.
Yeah, I mean, no arguments about the second, but there was all sorts of action throughout the field. I mean, we were watching battles for first, for third, for seventh, for 15th, for 22nd. I mean, we were all over the field. There was always something to be watching. And we got some really fun moments out of it. Cool opportunity to talk to Edwin after that scrap with Ricky Paz. I mean, that was a battle and a half. We didn't even really get an opportunity to talk too much about the battle for fifth there as well between Ryan Whitlock and Zach DeWell, and apparently got really close down at the wire. DeWell held on to it though. But that, I mean, there's so much to keep track of at a road course like this that it was a ton of fun no matter where you looked. But it does feel like it'd be prime time to take a look at our final results here tonight from Montreal to see how everyone's stacked up.
Let's go ahead and do it. Your winner tonight, Muhammad Ali from Ball State University, in dominant fashion, leading every single lap. Clint Halterman brings it home second for UNC Charlotte, and rounding out our podium is Jake Cummings from Wingate University. Lucas Moody from Ball State University, actually involved with a little verbal altercation with Thomas Toomey after the race in the chat. Those two drivers still exchanging words, I believe, at the moment. So the start of a big rivalry here in the Flexware College Cup Series. Zach DeWale for St. Clair College will finish 5th. Ryan Whitlock 6th for Alabama Huntsville. Andrew Burrell for Clemson University will finish P7. P8 goes to Jason Wallet and Drexel. P9, Edwin Onofre in the University of North Texas after passing Ricky Paz and Valpo University on the last lap. He will round out the top 10.
11th tonight also is the first car one lap down. It's Ball State's Andrew Stagey, just ahead of the 888 of Hunter Hedesti from Clemson. Charles Wimbley will bring it home 13th for Guilford, with Brandon Schulenberger in the 7 for Wingate and Alex Finnerty from UNC Charlotte in the 321, 14th and 15th. Drew Williams tonight, 16th for Clemson, just ahead of Kelton Quick from Ball State in the 17th. Timothy Williams from Drexel will bring it home 18th tonight, ahead of Matt Nordberg from NC State, who will bring it home 19th. And the 124 of Nick Stockner, the first car 2 laps down, in 20th.
P21 is going to go to Michael Sayador in the Penn College of Technology. 22nd goes to Sky Schreck, the sponsor of tonight's race, and the University of Oklahoma. P23, Austin DeLong for the Penn College of Technology. Landon Velicky from Auburn University will finish 24th. Thomas Toomey, after being disqualified, will finish P25 for UVA. That result will be encumbered, and he will be moved to the bottom of the grid. P26, Ben Neller from Ball State. P27, Edward Sanchez, who we talked to about halfway through the show, having a rough night for Baruch College. Logan Smith from Auburn University will finish 28th. 29th is Ethan Decatur from Valpo University, and P30 goes to Dylan Godinez and the Penn College of Technology. Well, the checkered flag has flown, and Muhammad Alif and Ball State University have become the winners of the first ever international race in Flexware College Cup Series history, and they have furthered their cases in the playoffs as the end of the regular season ever closer in only 3 weeks' time. And as we look forward to the playoffs, there's still more than plenty of racing left and lots of playoff spots on the line. The next opportunity comes next Monday night, as the Flexware College Cup Series drivers are going to go for the jackpot next week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for our No Luck 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. With 6 spots remaining in the playoffs at this point, a minimum of 3 drivers will be able to point their way in. So every position on track matters unless you can clinch that also important win. So be sure you don't miss any of that action as we take you trackside live here on CIL Vision next Monday night at 8:30 Eastern. And if you can't wait for more CIL action, it's a very Maple Tree kind of week here in the CIL, as both Formula C and the Collegiate Prototype Challenge will return here to Montreal for their respective races. Our Muhammad Alif and Jordan Johnson have pretty much locked out the championships in both of their respective series, but the battle is still on all the way down the top 10 for all of those positions in both of those series. So be sure you don't miss any of that action. Formula C race Wednesday night and the prototype race on Thursday night, both events starting at 8:45 Eastern, live here on CIL Vision. And I believe that's going to do it for all of us tonight. So on behalf of myself, co-commentator Alex, producers Christian and Keith, and from all of us here at the CIL, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to tonight's Press Subscribe GP presented by Cure Almi on YouTube. And until next time, stay fast. All right, I'm going to
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.